Hey all, I wanted to make a little bit more of a succinct video for you, showing you how to go from Rhino to Fusion 360 and get those tool paths you need. So this is my model. Mine is 12 by 12. The maximum size you should go to is 21 by 21. The reason for that is we have pieces of foam that are 24 inches by 24 inches. And I want you to leave an 1.5 inch border for the clamps that we need to hold it in place. So if we measure what's left there, that should be 21 or 1 foot 9 inches. So that's kind of your maximum size there. But I have a 12 by 12 and it's all one object. It's all solid. If you need help getting this to be kind of one connected thing, you can talk to me or you can look at the video from class. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I kind of went over that. Okay, so now that I have this, and it's a poly surface, it's not a mesh, you can see it's like nice smooth curves, we need to export it. So I'm going to go to File, Export Selected, and I'm going to export this as I think an IGS. Let's see, is that a thing? Yep, so IGES.IGS file, and give it a name that you can remember, and save it somewhere you can remember. Hit save. So here I made this file in inches, and I want to try to stick in inches because I think it'll be easier. So change the IGES units to inches, and everything else should be fine. Hit OK. So I'm now going to open up Fusion 360, and here I want to change my units that I'm in inches. And actually, I'm going to reopen Fusion 360 because it looks different than when I first opened it. So Fusion 360 is a software you will need to download the trial for now. If you don't have an Autodesk educational account, you should be able to get an educational account because you're a student, which would give you access to all Autodesk software for 3 years. But since that can take a while to kind of get organized, you can also just get, I think it's like a 60-day trial or something. Maybe it's a 30-day trial, so mine ends in 10 days. All right, so I want you to first make sure that your units in here are also inches. So if you come up to the little bubble with your name on it, go to Preferences, and you should get a big menu coming up. Come down here to Default Units, Design, and change your default units to inches and hit Apply, and then hit OK. Now I'm going to come over here. And I think I just opened it, so I'm going to hit Open. And I'm going to open from my computer. And the one I just made is the new export.igis, so I'm going to open that up. So it looks like that came in fine, which is good. If I hold down Shift, my middle mouse button, I can scroll around. Sweet. So it looks like it's where I want it to be. It imported to the same place I had it in Rhino, so I'd kind of gotten it set up ahead of time that it would be at the origin, but a little bit below, just so I can get the top of this to cut nice and smooth. So it's in the right place. The one thing you'll notice is all these surfaces are separate right now, and I want them to be stitched together. So I'm going to come over here to New Export where it says Bodies. Here it says Unstitched. I want you to select that, then come over here under Surface, and then click on Modify Stitch. And that shall be okay. Hit OK. And then it should be all one body, and that's what we want. So that's great. Now that you have this body, you're ready to set up tool paths. So I'm going to click Save. I'm doing a terrible job of naming things today. That's okay. So I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to come over here to Design and change it from Design to Manufacture. And now that I'm at Manufacture, I'm going to do a setup. So over here, if I right click, I can hit New Setup. And we're going to change a couple things. So the first thing over here under setup, under machine, change that so you have generic 3-axis and hit select. Operation type is milling. It gave me like a stock box, like a standard box height kind of. I want to change that so that it's like actually what I want it to be. So I'm going to come over here under stock, relative size. I'm going to do a 6 size box, and I'm going to change this to 12 inches. Actually, I'm going to make it, I'll make it 14 inches, so we have an extra inch on each side. Or I guess I said 1.5 inches, so, sorry, so plus 3, so 12 plus 3, so 15 inches. And then my height, I forgot to put the inches after. 15 inches by 15 inches. Make sure you type in that in. And that was wrong. The height should have been 2 inches. And then I guess they call that depth. I usually call depth the other way, but anyway, 15 inches. All right, so that's going to be my stock box. And so that's all good. So I'm coming back over here, and I'm going to change this from changes to selected point, and then I'm going to select a point as orientation. That's fine. Sorry, so I guess stock box point, and I'm going to select this as my stock box point. Interesting. It's going to want me to use that. That's fine. So hit selected point. Make sure it's actually using the origin for that. I don't know if I can then move this. It doesn't seem happy with that. So what I did before, sorry, was just hit stock box points. That should be fine. So that should be okay. And then program number, I'm not going to change anything in there. And was everything else on stock good? Yeah, that shall be fine. So I'm going to hit okay. Okay, now that I have this set up, I'm going to need to make my toolpath. So we're going to be setting up 2 different toolpaths. The first one clears out the majority of the material. The second is going to go through and kind of be a smoothing pass. So I'm going to come over here under 3D and go to pocket clearing. For my tool, I want to select a 1/4 inch flat bit. So if I go to over here to the Fusion 360 library, I can get sample tools inches, and I want a 1/4 inch flat end mill. So that's the one I want. So I'm going to select that. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to go down. Right now it has the spindle speed as 11,000, and it's because it's like using a Luminoso preset. We talked about this being 16,000, so I'm going to type in 16,000. The surface speed is like how fast it's going. Actually, it's a cutting feed rate. So surface speed, let's actually leave alone. I think that one's fine. Ramp spindle speed, we're going to change all these things that say spindle speed to 16,000. Cutting feed rate, this is the one we want to change. So we want this to be 100 inches per minute. Oops. Inches per minute. Okay. And then feed per toolpath. That let's leave alone. Lead in feed rate. So this is going to be all the same as that. So we're going to do the 100 inches per minute. Lead out feed rate, same thing, 100 inches per minute. Ramp feed rate is going to be 100 inches per minute. So in different materials, you might change this. Foam's very forgiving, so you can kind of leave it alone. This one we're going to make the plunge, maybe we'll do a little bit slower. So maybe let's make that 80 inches per minute. Oops. And feed for revolution, let's leave alone. Over here under coolant, change this to disabled. All right, so that should all be fine. Once we're done with the tool setups, let's go over to geometry. So machining, boundary, bounding box, tool containment, additional offset. I think we can leave all that alone. What is this? Let's not worry about these things. Tool orientation, model. Okay, I think we're good on that. So heights, you want to take a look at. You just want to make sure that your model is going to be within the heights that's defining. So basically, like the clearance height is saying how far that head's going to go up before it moves side to side, and you want to make sure that like it won't hit anything as it goes. And this looks like it should be all fine. So I'm not going to mess with any of those. Those seem happy. Under passes, we can leave most of these alone. The few things you might want to change are over here under direction. You can do both ways to help speed that up a little bit. We don't want to do stock to leave unless you want to not to leave. That's basically that's saying like if you want to be able to shave down the surface later. So let's not do that. Both minimum cutting radius. So I think we're good on this. Just curious what's under smoothing. Yeah, so we're not worrying about any of that. It's all good. Under linking, I think we're also good here. I think on we have to do plunge for the ramp type, unfortunately, because that's how that is how Easel works if you don't get Easel Pro. The one thing that I'm like missing right now is the step over, and I must have missed it back under passes. So let's take another look at this. Direction both ways smooth. Okay, this one, maximum roughing step over. This is a big deal. So you want that to be 1/2 the width of your tool or less. That's basically like how far it's going to step each time it cuts down. And you don't want to make it too deep because otherwise you'll have trouble cutting through the material. So the maximum roughing step over, we're going to make that 1/8 inch. Okay. So I'm pretty sure everything else here should be okay. So once I'm good with that, I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to generate that over here. So it's taking its time, it's generating it. Oh, it's really taking its time. It doesn't really love this. So while that is generating, if you haven't done this already, you're going to need to download the post processor from Easel itself. So I have that on here. So if you go to Canvas, it should be under CNC resources. If you click on this tutorial, the export Fusion 360 into Easel, it'll have this link, download the post processor. So you're going to download the version that you need. And then this tutorial is also really great for, just use that tutorial for how you actually get it to pop up in Fusion. But basically you would download it, you'd install it, and then in Fusion, you would add it to your cloud library so that it pops up. So that's under, wow, my computer is really struggling here. I must have done something weird to it. All right, I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, so my computer just did like a crazy freeze, but it's totally fine. So here is my model. You'll notice like the one thing it's warning me about, like it has this little exclamation point. It's worried about the head of the machine hitting this side here when it goes around. But I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. And if it's not fine, you can always come back and edit it once you're kind of in the shop. But okay, so this is our first path, and this just gives us kind of a simulation of what that's going to look like. That all looks good to me. So you're going to need to post this. So what I had begun to say at the beginning of the last one was that you're going to need to download the post processor first and install it. And there's instructions for how to do that. This tutorial is really great. So just use this tutorial.
Hello. Do this by using the setting toolpath. There are go to the areas, hit apply.
Like here. I'm not going to redo it because she does it. She does such an awesome job. Just follow that. So you're going to download the post processor. Once you have it downloaded, you go over here to actions and hit post process, and then it'll be here under post. It'll just pop up. So when you name it, it's really important that you put a couple things in here. Put an 01 so you know the order that you're doing it. This is the first cut you're doing. And then I like to put in 1/4 flat, so I know what size, what kind of end mill I want to use for this. And then I usually put in what it is, so pocket clearing. And then you could do like the name of the file or your name or whatever. Okay. And so that'll save to there and hit post. And then that should save. That'll save, and you'll need this file to open up in Easel, so hit save. Okay, so then we're going to make one more. So you can duplicate your setup. So if you right click on here, you can duplicate this. And under setup 2, just delete this pocket because we want to redo this. So select setup 2, and over here you're going to go to 3D, but this time you're going to do a morphed spiral. And here we're just going to do the same sorts of things. So I think it's better to change to a 1/8 tool for this. So I'm going to select this and change to a 1/8 inch ball mill. You might want to check with Matt in the shop before to make sure that they have exactly that. They have exactly that tool that you want to use. So 1/8 inch. 1/16, 1/8 inch ball and mill. So I'm going to use that. Hit select. And then coolant disabled. Over here, spindle speed is 16,000. Surface speed, leave alone. Ram spindle speed. All these ones that say spindle speed, let's change them to 16,000. Cutting feed rate, we're going to change this to 100 inches per minute. Oops. 100 inches per minute. Leave alone. Lead and feed rate is also going to be 100 and not 1100, 100 inches per minute. Same thing here. Can I copy this? Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. I think I like this better at 80, so I'm going to change that. And that changed automatically, so don't change that one. Okay, geometry. Everything in here I think we can just leave. Heights, again, we're just checking that it's going to retract enough and it still looks fine, so that's good. Passes, direction, both these, up, down, milling, both, The step over here is where you might want to change it. So we have a 1/8 inch end mill, so we're going to do a 1/16 inch step over. All right, and then don't worry about that and hit OK. So that should be all done. Oh, is my computer going to freeze again this time? It might. This is so weird. See if I can save this. So I can hit this and hit generate. Yeah, it's almost like it keeps redoing it. So I'm just going to close Fusion again. Let's see if I reopen it, if it'll. Oh, I guess it's trying to upload it, and that's what it's angry about, because I'm also uploading videos at the same time, so that might be what's happening. So I'm going to try to reopen Fusion 360, and let's see if we can get that second path posted. I really do hate software that is too smart, that keeps trying to link to the internet when you don't want it to. All right. So if your computer does the same and quits on you, if you come over here under File, you can hit Open, and then you should be able to find your file. So this is the new export open. So I'm going to hit this and hit Generate again. Okay. Okay, let's delete it and try that one more time. So here's my setup. Okay, so 3D, Morphed Spiral, surface speed, blah, blah, blah. Select, this should be a 1/8 inch. Select. And so all these things should be changed. So this should be 16,000. This should be 16,000. Cutting feed rate should be 100 inches per minute. Same thing with the lead-in feed rate. Lead-out feed rate. Ramp feed rate. Plunge feed rate I'm keeping at 80. And geometry, which will be fine. Heights were all fine. Passes. The step over should be 1/16 of an inch. And hit OK. All right, I'm going to have to restart my computer again. I apologize. Let me pause this.